Before I forget, let me just add one thing. May the 4th be with you. And that will not make a lot of sense to a lot of people, but today is actually Star Wars Day. So may the 4th be with you. It's May the 4th. It's a joke. Well, good morning, everybody. This is Dear Mama Sal on a very wet Wednesday morning. Wet Wednesday. I like that. It's 8 degrees. Oh, 8 degrees here in southern British Columbia. Oh, yep, which would make it 47 in Fahrenheit. So 8 degrees Celsius, 47 Fahrenheit. I've got to remember to do it that way. Then it keeps everybody happy. For those of you who don't know, the DearMamaSal network is all about love life and other problems as seen through my eyes. Know that we do these drive-alongs, but we'll only be doing these for the next couple of months because then I'm going to retire, so we won't do as many drive-alongs. Or maybe we will. They'll just be different ones. But we do the drive-alongs at the moment, Monday to Thursday, and then we broadcast 3 times at the weekend. And if you go to DearMamaSal.com, you will find a tab there that will show you exactly where the links are. And on the, for those of you who like to follow another medium, Instagram, Pinterest and all that sort of stuff, just look at the notes below and all the links are there, I believe. I haven't checked for a while, but of course I know they're all there. And if you haven't subscribed, please do so. We try to help people grow. Our subject for today is evacuation. As some of you may have seen, I put up some notes yesterday about a town in Alberta here in Canada. A town in Alberta called Fort McMurray. Now, I know Fort McMurray. I've been there. I actually did a keynote address there one time. And it's a community now of, well, it's a community now of 0 people. When I remember it, it was a lot bigger, but apparently the total community is 60,000 people. And the whole community ended up getting evacuated. Now, I was asking on Facebook last night, how many of you can imagine that happening? And the worst thing was that one of the escape routes, the route south, was cut off. They couldn't go south, they could only go north. Now, north of Fort McMurray, there's little to nothing in that order. So absolutely incredible to think you had 60,000 people trying to leave town with really nowhere to go. Because normally everything happens through Fort McMurray and south. I will put up the link if I can remember. I'll put up the link so that you can see exactly where that is. So my question was, what would you take with you? Are you ready for an emergency evacuation? Be it for an earthquake, be it for, I don't know, anything. But fire, obviously, so, you know, your whole block catching fire, or in this case, your whole community catching fire. Can you imagine it? I really, to me, it's just like, I find it so difficult to imagine. It would be terrifying enough to have my block in flames. Never mind the whole of my community. Nothing's safe. And I was trying to think, what would I take with me? And that was the question I asked last night. And I would have to say my first thought was, what is the most difficult to replace? Now, I know that a lot of you are going family and the pets, which absolutely, start there. But after that, what would you take with you? And so for me, I would take my passport, very difficult to replace. Make sure I've got everybody's ID. If I've got any money in the house, I'd be taking that with me. And by the way, do you keep spare cash in the house for this eventuality? If not, it's a really good idea. It's not play money, it's money that you keep put away. It doesn't have to be a fortune, but enough to maybe keep the family in food and drink for a while. When I say drink, I mean beverages. Like bottled water is going to cost you money. So I would definitely take my passport, money, my birth certificate, and my legal Canadian, what do you call it? Citizenship. What other documents would I take? I would take, by the way, both American and Canadian money. Because I've got my passport. If necessary, I could go across to the States. Oh. I carry all my credit cards and everything with me anyway, so that would be a no-brainer. Oh, medication would be a really good idea. Yes, whoever mentioned that was a good point. Medication plus, have you got written somewhere exactly what medication you're taking? Do you have that do you carry it in your purse? Two reasons for that. Number one is because, you can say, well, I'm on heart meds, but they're going to want to know which ones, because you could be allergic to some, as I am. So do you have a list of what medications you take and what quantity? In other words, how many milligrams of it? Also, what non-prescription stuff you take. If you survive on vitamin D during the year, as I do, and I take fiber tabs, so I like to make sure that everybody knows this is what my regular routine is. And it's a good idea to have it in your wallet, purse, whatever you call it, in whatever country you're in. In England, they call it a purse. And to have it visible with the word ACE, A-C-E, in case of emergency. Highlighted. That's all you need. It needs to stick out like a credit card, but with the word ACE. But the first thing they do, if you go to hospital or something, is they will check your purse or wallet in the hope that you've got something like that in there. The other thing I would have on that piece of paper, and you just need to type it once and print it out and emboss it if you can, and that's easy to do with packing tape. The other thing is next of kin and people important to you. All right, people, for example, in my case, I have two people who are my power of attorney. In other words, if I am not capable of making a decision, I have two people who can make decisions on my behalf, and that would include whether to pull the plug on me or not. So, to me, those are very important things to have on me all the time, because there could be an emergency, it could be a medical emergency, or it could be a physical emergency, as we're talking about. Now, if you're taking pets with you, did you think to also take pet food? Because we're inclined to think, okay, fine, I will take this, 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 and this. But you know, can you quickly rush into the pantry and pull out stuff that is edible without needing to be cooked? Crackers, maybe. Cereals. Certain cereals make really good snacks, I've discovered. You know, without any milk, without anything else, just a snack. If you've got protein bars, really good idea to take those with you, in case you get caught without any food. And as I stated before, you may want to take some sort of liquid. And the trick would be to have everybody trained to look at a list. There needs to be a list somewhere. Maybe in a kitchen, inside a kitchen cupboard that says or maybe 2 or 3 of them, so different people can be reading them from different places. Because in an emergency, you're not going to want to be thinking. In an emergency, you need to know. It's too late in an emergency to start thinking then. If the pictures of your babies are the most important thing in your life, take them. They're irreplaceable. If your mother's wedding ring is the one thing in your world that you would never want to be without, and she's passed, take it. But my suggestion is, do you have all these things in a central place? I'm not suggesting that you need to have them all in one location necessarily, but can you get to all the important things in a hurry? You don't want to be rummaging through the whole of your jewelry just to find that one ring if you're not wearing it. I'm sure this is making sense to you. But I think to have a list somewhere that says, in case of evacuation, take these things. And I would almost have it, if you're a family of people, I would almost have it so that each member of the family is responsible for different things. Obviously, they will get their personal list of what is important to them. How many of you have on that list cell phone charger? You know what I mean? Think through this. The other thing is, I wonder if any of you have what I have. In my car, I have a wind-up flashlight that also charges. It's also a charger. It can charge my laptop. It'll take a lot of winding, but it can charge my laptop, and it can also charge my cell phone. And I keep it stuck right here. By the way, it's also a radio. It's a flashlight radio. Luckily I'm stopped right now. And oops. There's the wind-up thing. You wind it up, and I keep it stuck between the seat of my car it's jammed in. Why? Because if ever I were to have an accident where I roll down a ditch or something and maybe I can't get out, I don't want this falling out and it's be somewhere in the car. I want it, if I'm strapped in, that I can get to it and maybe Morse code an emergency. The other thing I keep in my car, and it has saved me many, many times, and a lot of other people as well, I keep jumper cables, as they're called, in my car, and I know how to use them. Those are the two cables that you can charge a battery from somebody else's battery. Or you can at least start the car if your battery is flat. I have a very old set in the back of my car, and they've moved from car to car. I don't want to ever have to think, did I bring jumper cables? Because maybe I can help somebody else who's got a flat battery, or I can have somebody help me if I've got a flat battery. I'm certain I've forgotten something really important. But luckily you guys will be thinking and add to the list. And what I was going to say was that by opening 3 different drawers in my bedroom, I can get to the majority of the important things in my life. In a hurry. And that would be passport, money, proof of citizenship. How about you? So I would challenge you all to not just go, oh, good idea, Sal. I would challenge you all to go do something about it. Write the list. Stick it somewhere and tell us where you put the list. Did you put it behind your bedroom door, for example? Did you put it inside a bedroom closet? Did you put it where? And did you get the children to sit down and write a list? By the way, the other thing that would be a really good idea to have on the back of everybody's door is an emergency, what shall I call it? Tote of some sort, a small one. So that every member of the family knows they can fill this tote, and that's all. So they need to know that that's the one that they need to take with them, and whatever they can that's important to them, they can take. If your children are old enough, give them the list of what they need to put in, underwear. They will think of cell phones and chargers. They won't necessarily think of underwear. I know it sounds really strange, but one thing I learned being a camper was the greatest emergency washing machine is a bucket and a toilet plunger. Or even an ice cream bucket with a lid. So you throw everything in there and you drive, and the motion of the water moving while you're driving actually makes for a great washing machine. It really does. I mean, I know you're probably laughing at me, but it does. It makes an unbelievably good washing machine. And then when you get wherever you're going, all you need to do is rinse it all out. Now, if you haven't got movement, in other words, if you're stuck, a bucket, one of those ice cream buckets and a plunger will wash a lot of clothes. Even if you don't have soap. I mean, obviously soap will help, but do you have soap on your list? Interesting stuff. Good. Well, I hope that's got some of you thinking and some of you realizing that we need to be a little more prepared for something like this. I'm sure your thoughts and prayers will all go out to the people of Fort McMurray in Alberta who have maybe lost not only their house, not only all their possessions, but they've lost the whole community. I mean, that's just like that would be like a war situation. So I take one moment just before we stop here to be very grateful. Very, very grateful indeed for the fact that all that I'm dealing with today is rain. By the way, the other thing that you might want to think about is, what if the emergency happened and you were away from home? Do you have anybody else who could go to your house and know where to find things? Important things. This is DearMamaSal saying, thank you for being with me. I hope you never have reason to put this all to work. However, being ready for an emergency isn't a bad idea. Bye-bye for now.